the gift that feels like a curse. You feel everything. You walk into a room and the air thickens. You can taste tension that hasn't been spoken. You notice subtle shifts in tone, pauses that carry pain, and glances people think are invisible. You know when someone's lying before they open their mouth. You know when someone is hurting before they do. But here's the twist. No one believes you. They tell you you're too sensitive, too dramatic, too intense, that you're imagining things. But you're not. You're just intuitive, and Jung warned about you, not in admiration, not in fear, but in caution, because the intuitive person is both sacred and damned in this world. And if you don't learn how to harness it, your gift will slowly turn on you. So today we ask, are you one of them? And are you surviving your own depth? Part 1. The invisible language of intuition. Carl Jung divided human consciousness into 4 functions: thinking, feeling, sensation, and intuition. Most people operate in the realm of the tangible: touch, taste, logic, experience. But the intuitive person, they live in a different world, a world of patterns, premonitions, and symbols. They see what others don't, often what others refuse to see. But this ability comes at a cost, because we live in a world that worships the measurable and mocks the mystical. And so Jung warned, intuition is the most misunderstood of all psychological functions, and it is the most dangerous when repressed. Why? Because when society gaslights your very way of knowing, you start to gaslight yourself. Part 2. The intuitive's first wound. You're making it up. It begins in childhood. You notice the sadness in your mother's eyes before she ever admits she's depressed. You pick up on the tension between your parents before the fighting begins. You sense when a teacher is playing favorites, when a friend is lying, when a stranger is unsafe. You speak your truth, and the adults look at you like you're insane. You're imagining things. You're being paranoid. You're just sensitive. And that's the first cut. That's the first wound. Jung called this the betrayal of the self. Because your gift, the very thing that makes you you, is not seen as a gift. It's seen as a problem. So what do? You suppress it. You pretend you don't notice. You shrink. And that's where the shadow begins to form. Part 3. The dangers of being too aware. Jung warned that highly intuitive people can become psychologically isolated. Why? Because when you see beneath the mask of the world, when you detect every hidden motive, every micro-expression, every contradiction in someone's words and energy, you begin to live on high alert, constantly decoding, constantly reading between the lines. This creates emotional exhaustion. You overthink, not because you're neurotic, but because your mind is a radar tower picking up every frequency of human behavior. You start feeling responsible for everything you sense, and worst of all, you struggle to trust. People say one thing, but you feel another. And the more your intuition is right, the more alone you feel. Because what do you do when everyone lies, and you know it? What do you do when you sense betrayal before it happens? What do you do when you can see through people, and it makes it hard to love them? Jung knew. He called it the burden of clairvoyance, the trauma of truth. Part 4. The loneliness of seeing too deeply. Jung observed that intuitives often suffer from alienation, not because others exclude them, but because they exclude themselves. Not out of arrogance, but out of despair. They've seen too much. They've felt too deeply. They know what people hide, and it's hard to unsee it. It's hard to relax when you're constantly picking up pain that isn't yours, and so many intuitives fall into isolation. Not physical, but emotional. They stop trusting, they stop sharing. They become spiritual exiles in a world addicted to the superficial. But Jung warned, this isolation is dangerous, because it leads to inflation, a sense that only you can see, that you're special, that others are blind sheep. And this turns your gift into a narcissistic defense, from intuition to superiority, to madness. Part 5. The Intuitive's Shadow. Jung's greatest warning to intuitives was not about others, it was about themselves. Because when you're highly intuitive, you can become addicted to insight, addicted to being right, addicted to predicting pain before it arrives. And so your mind begins to project. You see betrayal where there is none. You interpret indifference as hate. You start reading people's energy through your own wounded lens. This is how the intuitive becomes the paranoid. The prophet becomes the martyr. And Jung knew the line was razor thin. Because if you don't do your shadow work, your intuition becomes a mirror for your unhealed trauma. You don't see what is. You see what you fear. Part 6. How to survive your gift. So how do you protect your intuition without drowning in it? Jung offered one path: integration. Step 1. Validate your gift. You're not crazy. You're not overreacting. You were born with a radar most people don't have. Own it. Step 2. Ground yourself. Intuition without embodiment becomes psychosis. Feel your body. Breathe. Touch the ground. Return to the now. Step 3. Shadow work. Ask, am I seeing the truth? Or, am I seeing my trauma? You must clean your lens before you interpret others. Step 4. Discern your boundaries. Just because you feel someone's pain doesn't mean it's your job to fix it. Let go of the savior complex. Step 5. Community. Find other intuitives, people who get it, who won't mock your knowing. You are not alone in your depth. Part 7. From Curse to Calling. The intuitive person was never meant to blend in. You were never meant to conform. You were born to see what others deny. But Jung's final warning was clear. Your gift will destroy you if you do not humble it. Let that sink in. You are not God. You are not a saint. You are a soul with sensitivity. You must protect it. Channel it. Clean it. Not just so you can see, but so you can heal. Because your intuition is not just for detection. It's for compassion. Not just for decoding others, but for understanding yourself. A challenge to the intuitive soul. If you feel too much, if you know too much, if you carry the weight of emotions that were never yours to begin with, know this: you are not broken, but you are responsible. Responsible for mastering your gift. Responsible for not letting your wounds speak in the voice of your intuition. Responsible for finding clarity, not just insight. So here's my challenge. Stop gaslighting your own genius. Stop apologizing for your radar. Start building the inner architecture to hold what you know. The world doesn't need another empath collapsing under the weight of unprocessed energy. It needs a new breed of intuitive warriors, grounded, self-aware, unshakable. Are you one of them? Because if you are, it's time to rise.